Okay, you guys, look how bomb that looks. You get like the diffusion, it looks seamless, but it still looks defined. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about blending. We're gonna be showing you all of my tips, tricks, techniques, products, favorite brushes for blending out your eyeshadow to get a very flawless airbrush blend with a lot of dimension. So stay tuned for that. I did partner up with Sigma Beauty on this video, which I'm so excited about because you guys know I have always used their products. I really do feel like they have such high quality brushes, and they have 3 brand new brushes that I'm literally so excited to tell you guys about because I've been using these brushes for weeks now. They allowed me to preview them before I ever did like a video or anything about them because I wanted to make sure that obviously they were amazing quality and the right shapes, and it's like something that I really do use, and I do, and they are such game changers. So I'm so ready to tell you guys about them. Let's go ahead and get into the video. First and foremost, before we even get into like the bulk of the steps, you guys need to remember baila, okay? Blend your life away. That is like the #1 thing that I want you guys to remember whenever starting to work with like more eyeshadows, when starting to learn how to blend, especially for those beginners out there. Like when you feel like you're done blending, you're not. Like it takes a lot to really get that beautiful blend and beautiful gradient, but if you remember baila, baila, baila ese cumbia, da, da. If you remember that, then I feel like that gives you something to be like, Rox says, keep on blending, okay? Moving on to our little eyeballs here. So I went ahead and primed. Priming is very important because it's gonna make your eyeshadows pop a little bit more, but also on top of that, it is going to make blending a lot easier. One tip that I can give you guys is to prime well, but also set the primer. So what I like to do is take translucent powder. I feel like translucent setting powder is a little bit more finely milled than your average pressed powder. So I take a little bit on a blending brush. This is the Sigma Beauty Tapered Blending E40. And you just want to really pinpoint that into the crease and up towards the brow bone. I don't get too much of it on my lid, just right here in the crease. So you want to always do that prime and set step because that's what's going to give you the most even base, the most color corrected base. So you can see I don't have discoloration on top of my eyelids anymore so that the colors can pop, but also to create that easy to blend canvas for the rest of the shades that we're going to be putting on. The next thing I always want you guys to remember is gradient. The word gradient is very, very key when it comes to getting a good blend for your eyeshadows. So depending on what like color wave you're going to go with, you always want to have a light, medium, and dark shade to blend with. So let's say I'm going with like warm tone browns. You want to have a light brown, a medium brown, and a dark brown. If you're going to go with like cool tones, you want to typically have a light gray, a medium gray, and a darker gray. So typically the lightest shade goes all the way up here towards the brow bone. The medium shade will go right underneath, and then the deeper shade is the closest to the lid. Especially I feel like when I'm describing a smoky eye, that's the easiest way to think about it, is like light, medium, deep. If for example you're doing a cut crease or something that's a little bit more advanced such as that, you still want to stick with the same gradient notion, but it's going to be light, medium, deep, and then a cut into a lighter shade. Today I'm going to use the Warm Neutrals Volume 2 eyeshadow palette from Sigma. So I'm going to take this one, light, medium, deep. Boom. Done. Period. You always want to start off with the lightest shade. So your base blending shade, that's what you start off with. So I'm going to take the shade right here called Toasty, and you're just going to place it into the crease with an upward hand movement. The hand movement is actually very important to how your eyeshadows blend out. When you're holding your brush upwards, do you see how the actual bristles are facing up? That gives you a more airbrushed look, like it's drawing the colors out a little bit more and just really fanning it out. If you ever use like a more precise brush, like let's say this one, for example, and you were to go like this right in the crease on a downwards motion with the bristles facing down, that gives you more precision. So that's more so something you would do for like a cut crease or anything where you really want to deposit a lot of color right here in the crease. But for this, we're gonna go upwards in windshield wiper motions. And I like to almost blend towards the end of my eyebrow because I feel like that gives my eye shape like a really nice feminine look. This is such an OG brush too, the Sigma Beauty Tapered Blending E40. I've been using this for years and it never lets me down because it just gives you that very flawless dispersion of color. You wanna build even the first shade up quite a bit. And typically you want to deposit the color closest to the crease and then keep blending that up towards the brow bone. See what I tell ya? Baila. Blend your life away. And a really common question that I get is, do you need to use a different brush for every color that you're using? I personally would say yes, because if you don't, it can start to look muddy, and that's when it almost looks like you just have like one wash of color instead of a defined gradient. So I personally would say yes to that. So I'm gonna go to my next brush that I'm gonna use, which is the E27 Detailed Blending. This is one of the newer brushes. So like I said at the beginning, there are 3 new brushes that they just released, which I'm so excited to tell you guys about because these are bomb. Like, I have been using them nonstop. I haven't been able to share them much because obviously they weren't released yet, but I'm so excited to finally be able to use them on camera because they really, really are very high quality, very good. And I don't know if you guys know this, but all of the brushes actually have a 2-year warranty, which I think is pretty cool. I personally never had a problem with like it falling apart or even fraying or the bristles falling out with all of my Sigma brushes. Like, they're very, very, very well made. And all of the newer ones actually have a double-threaded interlocking ferrule system, so you know it's not gonna fall apart, plus a waterproof resin handle, so it's not gonna pop off like if you're washing it or rinsing it or cleaning them, which I think is just awesome. The first is the E27 Detail Blendings. This one is amazing because it has this rounded shape. If you guys know the E25, it's similar, but it's a little smaller and a little bit more precise. It still has that fluffiness, but it's very precise, so you could get right into the crease and blend upwards and really like diffuse it out. They also have this guy, which is the E42 Precision Firm Blender. This one has a slightly firmer like set of bristles on it. I like this one for really like airbrushing this outer section out and then connecting it on this outer V. And then finally, we have the E33 Detail Diffused Crease. This guy has a very tapered tip to it, which I love for getting that super airbrushed effect. So you could really like pinpoint it and then blend, blend, blend. Baila. So we're gonna take the E27 and dip it into the shade Henna. And we're just gonna go straight in, right towards the crease. And again, I'm using a more upwards movement to get this like airbrushed look. And I always take the E33 Detail Diffuse Crease and diffuse the edges so that there's no harsh lines here, and it just creates like the most beautiful blend. And do you see how that gradient is starting to come? So we have the lighter shade, now we're going in with the medium. So for the deepest shade for today, I'm gonna be using the Precision Firm Blender E42. So this guy, I'm gonna take the shade After Hours down here, and I'm gonna place that the lowest on the crease. So already just with like literally one little pop in there, you can see how much dimension this adds. And then you wanna connect the shade down here at the bottom. And when you don't have as much left on the brush, you also want to take this shade into the inner corner. And you always want to keep your other blending brushes on hand, just so you can go back in and blend out the harsh edges once again. I think that's, again, going back to Baila, blend your life away. So right here, I'm actually going back in with the E33 Detail Diffuse Crease. And again, in order to continue creating that gradient, one thing that I highly recommend doing is actually using pressing motions at first. So you press the eyeshadow onto the lid, then drag it out into the shape that you want. So for me, I always love a little winged out shape. Of course, going back in with the Detail Diffuse Crease E33 and blending out any harsh edges. No extra product put on this. So just be aware of like when you're applying product and when you are just going in and blending out the colors and melting the shades together. And again, E40 Tapered Blending, just to do one final check in on the blend. Make sure everything looks very airbrushed. Ooh, another tip. Hold your brush. Like, be aware of where you're holding your brush. If you hold your brush here, I personally would only do that with like something like this. I would never do that to blend. But if you're holding your brush here, that's when you're getting very tight, compact, like movements, and you're gonna pack on the color. That's when you want to pack on color. If you hold your brush at the edge of your brush towards the end, that's when you get this like light-handed airbrushing effect. Let's pick up a little bit more of our first blending tone. This is something that I do like to do to reintroduce that shade, because obviously the more you blend colors away, the less that they're gonna show up. So I usually take my first color and use it as my last color as well, just to replace it right above here. Okay, you guys, look how bomb that looks. You get like the diffusion, it looks seamless, but it still looks defined. That's exactly what you want for a good blend. One last step, I usually take like a flat brush. This one is from Sigma and it's their medium sweeper E54. I'm gonna take this and just place this right on the lid, and that's really gonna make the lid pop so that the rest of our blending shades come together as well. Just a quick little wash of color. I take my darkest blending shade on the E42 Precision Firm Blender and just replace it down so it can get a nice blend in here. I feel like a lot of blending is just like picking it up, putting it down, re-blending out, making sure that everything looks nice and seamless. That's what's really gonna give you like that flawless blend. Just always going back in and like making sure there aren't any harsh lines. All right, guys, so I know you're gonna be blending like pros in no time. I really hope these little tips and tricks help you guys out, because for me, I really do feel like they were just game changers, especially these newer detailing blending brushes. So bomb for getting that very precise but airbrush look. So definitely check these out if you're looking for something to spice up your blending game. But I know that these actually come in a bigger set, so if you don't have any blending brushes and you wanna check out something that's literally gonna have everything you need for a flawless blend, check out the, I think it's called the Ultimate blending brush set. So definitely something to think about. And like I said, I will link everything down below that I talked about today. I hope you guys like this video, and thank you to Sigma for partnering with me once again. You guys are beautiful and out. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Time to go eat some donuts. Today's video is all about that was not correct. Roxette, you're crazy. Before we even get into, whoa, this little mirror is like causing a little thing. I think I have a bruise right there. It's like so weird. It has like little dots.